Good day, ladies and gentlemen, welcome on board, and today is a small tutorial on how to get your explained visuals the best to this date. A lot of things I will not explain here. You can find them on Google and I will go through them. But again, sorry for this format. Just doing live stream on it to make things faster. For this you will need 4 things or 3 depending on your budget or liking. The first thing you will need is Ultra Weather XP. The second is Xvision. Third is Reshade, and the weather engines you can either choose the FSG WR or NOAA Weather. All links are below in description, and you can choose your way. Pretty much 2 of those things are free, which is Reshade and Xvision. For Ultra Weather XP you have to pay, and for weather engines you have to pay, but you can use the free one, which is NOAA. It's all up to you again. And the first thing you will need to do is calibrate your monitor. I'm pretty sure you can find a lot of videos on the internet on how to do it. I will not go through this, as I don't want to make the video 2 hours long if I would do all the specials, you know. So calibrate your monitor. Don't use any hot or cold colors to it. Just make it full RGB scale, and you can find a lot of information. Use Google. Second thing, go ahead and download the Ultra Weather XP. Install it, run your PC once, and I would just hit the default Ultra Weather XP button on it, but I will go through it again. Turn off your simulator back and download the Xvision. You can find the documents inside on how to do it. This program has a lot of features and a lot of capabilities you can do, but I will not go through all of them. I will just go through the ones that make my picture look best. All right, so let's go ahead and check this out. All right, so here it is. In your shaders tab, I use fog and scattering. I bump it to 3.60, and you can just type it in here. Density factor I use by default is 0.00020. I'm sorry, 10. I use 20, and then I leave the color tones and out scattering as per default, and your check mark should be in this box. The next one is sky saturation. I use 1.2, just a bit more saturation on the sky. The third one is Khaki Correction, which makes your terrain more green, and it will keep green as green, gray as gray, but the khaki tone will be changed pretty much. And as a lot of you explained users, you probably know what we are talking here. Mostly this is seen in cities, and that will correct this. So no adjustments here whatsoever, just click the checkbox. The sunlight adjustment, I use this as well. Diffuse light power, direct sunlight power, and direct sunlight saturation as per default. No changes here, just click it. The general glow night textures, I use 10. Again, by default, the same. And no color shades, 1, 1, and 1. The urban areas backlight at night, I use brightness boost 1, and default is 7. I found 7.02 bright for me, but again, you can experiment with this a little bit more yourself, but start with 1 and move up and see what's best for you. The rest of it is by default. The sun moon glare smoothing, again by default 1.5, and checkbox. Clouds I don't use, since we are gonna use the clouds from UWXP, so you can just leave off the clouds. sun glitter adjustment. This is pretty much seen on the water as the like the sun beam on the water glitter. Again, it's all by default except beam width. I use 4 instead of 1. I found it more beautiful. Contrail fix, which is just brightness of your contrails, which by default and explain is kind of dark. Later is just post-processing. Since we will use the reshade in this one, I will not go through this, but you can change those yourself and read about more, and you can do custom patches as well. The thing is, they will work in your VR, so this is a big plus. So what we were waiting for is to change a lot of stuff in VR. This all works in VR now, guys. So for those VR lovers that's out there and users, it's just good news for you. All right, so we're ready here. Let's go ahead. You can save this and just by clicking save solution with a new name. I already saved it with a BSS name. Then you can just apply adjustments and install resources by clicking this triangle here that looks like a play button. So go ahead, and even though it says there's problems detecting solution, sometimes there are problems, don't worry about that, but you have to read the log, pretty much what it says, what kind of problems is this. Okay, so the reason why it gave me the problems is because I inserted these as a script. Basically, you can insert all of your reshade inside the sim, but this is unnecessary for you, so don't mind it. Just read the log and see if everything is fine. Again, use the documentations provided with the program, so please don't ask me about how to do this. Just read, it's all explained there. Here I just explain the settings. Okay, so we hit play and let's fire up the sim. It's already here. Now, what you want to do here first, if you're using NOAA, go ahead to your NOAA settings configuration and take off all of your check marks and apply and save so you can get the clear weather. First, we need to deal with the clear skies in order to see how it's gonna look, whether you have totally perfect visibility and perfect weather. Then we will adjust the clouds and the rest of the stuff. So make sure all of your weather is clear and go to your default explain weather and hit clear here. Apply, and I already did. Okay, so the best way to check it is on default scenery, so not using any photo scenes. So you pretty much set it there so it looks perfectly by default. So the second thing what you will need to do is go to your UWXP. You will need to do this only once after you hit the after you install the shaders from Xvision. So if you don't touch the Xvisions again after you turn off the sim, you don't need to do this, only once. Let me magnify this so you can see better. Okay, so go ahead and click a UWXP main set. You should supposed to hear the sound as by ambient volume. I turn it off completely. Let's start from the right and move to the left. So ambient volume is off, light power I use 0, and I will explain later why. The rest of it is by default. I also changed the amount of clouds to 100, shadow power to 100, and cloud brightness we will adjust later when we will see the clouds, so it's more better. Then turn away the visibility mist. Again, I use 2.2 version because it's better for me. You can Google or ask the developer of this program for the 2.2 version. Again, I know the 2.4 is coming out soon, and most of these changes will have to most of this stuff will have to reflect the new one, but when it comes out we'll have a new video. But for now I use 2.2. Again, Google on his patches or user patches for clouds to remove the unnecessary pink from the clouds, to desaturate the clouds. Google on how to remove unnecessary darkness when it's overcast. So make sure you get all the patches out and that's out there. I know it's kind of takes time, but there's no other way to do it except to ask. Maybe I'll ask developer of this product, and I will post my settings with the file UWXP /p file. Otherwise I can't post it. All right, so turn away the visibility mist, and I found to use terrain mist at about 4. That gives me the perfect horizon at the perfect day. Again, so later, again, you will need to do this only once. You will need to switch the textures, because sometimes by using Xvision it can download the textures if you tried it before, just to make sure. So you go to developer, texture, sky colors, and texture browser. Texture browser search window, just type puff and you will have cloud puff files. Choose the 5th one, double click. Now choose your UWXP settings and make sure press reload cloud colors and press sky color 2, for example, to see the changes. Sometimes you need to press reload twice. You see the cloud had changed. The sky had changed. Now hit again the sky color 1 and reload again, and it changes. I found that the number 1 is the most realistic sky that's out there. Again, we're looking for clear weather skies, clear weather visibility, perfect weather. So all the sky colors that I know world creates in real life is done mostly by visibility or amount of water in the atmosphere. So we need to create the clearest sky possible, and then your weather engine is supposed to be doing the rest, not your original sky texture. Now for the cloud, you can hit reload, and the same, you can choose cloud 2, reload, and cloud 1, reload, just to make sure you have the correct cloud textures. So now you can switch those off, and as you can see, we have a perfect Rayleigh scattering, which is already seen close at the ground as per real world. No unnecessary fog. Now if you go to your plane, you can see the nice shadows and nice light scattering. it's not too dark, not too bright. It's just perfect at this really sunny bright day. Again, if you go out to the tarmac, you can see it's just, you can see the sun out there. Now let's go ahead and see how it looks from above. Again, this is default textures, and the higher you go, the more Rayleigh scattering. The ground becomes more bluish kind of, so that's good. It doesn't mean it's always gonna be like that. Of course, when the weather is out there, the visibility, it will look different, but you can see how it looks like it get higher and higher. So currently we are already at like flight level 370, probably 350, something like that. So let's go ahead and turn on the clouds so we can adjust the clouds. So for just this video, I will use NOAA weather, but on the regular I use FSGRW. It loads a little bit longer, so I don't want to waste your time. So I hit apply, and we have our beautiful skies from UWXP. I'm sorry, clouds. As you can see, no FPS hit whatsoever, and they look beautiful. Now we need to adjust the brightness of those clouds. You don't want any anything that will be too much bright, too much overexposed. So again, this is done with the reshade. So after I'm finished with this, I'll go through the reshade. I already know my settings, so there's no point for me. Okay, so let's go ahead. You press Shift and L and see how your sun will move fast. That way you can check how it looks on different time of the day, or you can just press L, it'll be slower. And what we're looking for is overexposure. So there you go, you see this is overexposed here. So we go back to ultra weather. Again, this is only done once, and take off a little bit cloud brightness until we don't see that overexposure, and that's it. It looks pretty. Now look how your night looks now. You have city lights all the way to horizon, and perfectly lit up sky, lit up clouds. At night, you can see clouds when you flying, especially when you have moon. And of course, on the ground, it looks all normal. Not dark, not bright. It's kind of raining here right now at this moment. And you can check how your lights look like with all the settings we've done. And you see they're pretty small and nice. They have glow to it. Now about glow, I'll explain how to do it. The Xvision works with your lights as well, but the glow is achieved by something other. It's called Reshade. All right, and the way I like it is because when you fly in real world, you almost don't see any blue taxi lights, and this is how it's here. The runway lights are also small. This is how it is in real world. No need to have the huge sized lights. They're unrealistic. Nice glow to it. Okay, so this is how it's done in Reshade. Install Reshade. Use Google again on how to install it. I will not explain. I don't want to go for another hour to explain on how. Fire up. There are not all versions of Reshade work with explain, but you can again use Google. Hit Shift FW. Sometimes you need to hit it twice, and just hit the cross on the right corner just to make sure it works. I only work with 3 post effects that I found that I need to have. I'll explain why just a second. Let me clear the weather again, so you guys can see it better way. All right. Okay, so we need the bright picture, right? We need to imitate the sun, sunny day, as well as we need to darken and fix some curves on the explain original colors. And by that, what I mean is, if I turn off all of my post effects, this is how it's gonna look like. You see, it's kind of dull looking. I mean, it's not as bad as default because of Xvision, because of Rayleigh scattering, but it's still kind of dull looking. The colors are not too much gray and such. So first thing, what I do is I use Luma Sharpen. I turn on Luma Sharpen just to sharpen things a bit. Now Luma Sharpen in the settings, let's find what kind of setting I have there. Okay, so here's my just a sec. Here's my settings for Luma Sharp, and you can find them here: 0.650, 0.035, normal, 1000, and off. You can pause the video and just copy those. So this is Luma Sharp, and now go to your HDR. This is what makes HDR, fake HDR. That's what makes your picture more deeper and darker, and adjusts the quality of your colors, as well as your dark kind of colors. All right, so the settings for HDR is fake HDR is 1.460, 0793, 0870. Again, you might need to just fine adjust this by like tenths and see. The idea here is not to have any oversaturation or overexposure or too much darkness. So by that, go back and forth through your cockpit and outside and make sure it's all looking good. But by on calibrated monitor or TV, you won't have any problem. Again, make sure you use full RGB on your monitor or TV in your NVIDIA settings. The third thing, and the thing that makes the lights at night kind of bloom, is the magic bloom. Let's find it. Magic bloom here. You can see it, it's already lighter, much lighter. It's really good. So we back with this sunlight and the magic bloom settings. Now this is really important because otherwise you will have overbloom. It's 1000, 1000, 0, 0.500, 0.1, I'm sorry, 0.500, 0.100, 0998, then 0, 1000, 2, and none. So this is all you need to do in Reshade. And again, watch how your lights become much brighter, have this nice glow to it. At the same time, when you gain altitude, there is no visible boundary between the end of the lights and the textures, so it's I like the way. Also keep in mind that most aircraft have the windows a little bit tinted, so as it is bright now here, this is how you would see it with your own eyes, just in the air and hot air balloon or such. Inside an aircraft will be much a little bit more darker, and that is good as well. So I think this is it, guys. Make sure you don't miss any of those, and if you have any questions, but not questions that you can find yourself in Google or read in README files, you can ask me in the comments. Hit like, visit those sites that are in the description, as well as my website for Blue Sky Star Simulation sounds. The sounds for your X-plane and prepar. And again, thank you for watching, and goodbye. The rest of you can join the stream later on in about 30 minutes. See ya.